Right, retirement. That is where we're having the guidepost there as we continue to look at this editorial cartoon from the Daily Nation. And you can see Uhuru is being dragged into this politics. We saw what was happening yesterday. And the question that maybe is lingering on most people's minds is the fact that how is the clammy hands of the executive involved in the implosion within Jubilee? Is what Kanini Kega is doing and Sabina Chege steamrolled from the executive, if maybe we go by this particular editorial cartoon?
You see, Dibal, there are about 4 issues in play, and they are all happening at the same time. Number 1, disrupt the political party order and try to create a hegemony, try and create a super party. 2, disrupt devolution. Devolution. Starve it of money, antagonize the governors. That's happening right here. 3, disrupt parliament, disrupt the Senate, disrupt the National Assembly, keep them busy. And 4,
and put many of them to travel the world.
Yes, and 4,
because nothing is happening.
Put your hand in the judiciary and make sure that you are shuffling, appointing judges to some funny commissions and so on. So there is a way in which there is a good destabilization, all meant to achieve a certain narrative. Let us have a strong political presence in order for us to have better control. Because when you minimize voices from the counties and you disrupt voices in the assembly, cause chaos in ODM, cause chaos in Jubilee generally, and make sure that people in Central are very busy. What people in Central have not learned is that their script has been written. Keep them busy, fighting among themselves, chasing wild geese, and other things. In the meantime, people in Rift Valley are very quiet and very strategic and grabbing every strategic parastato and job and opportunities that are available. Yeah? And things are happening around there. So that script is here. So the script you see in Jubilee is very calculated. Keep these guys of Central very busy fighting around on issues or some things. But make sure your stronghold is safe, secure, and busy accessing the legis that requires your political machine to keep working. Because at the end of the day, he cares about the people who will say he betrayed them in Rift Valley, than anywhere else. The question is, then where is he going to get new allies? And that's why you see Western in play, a little bit of Nyanza in play, and some other parts other than the traditional parts that actually were the strongholds for this party. So basically what I'm saying is that it is politics 24/7 and not progressive politics but disruptive politics. Again, that is very natural of the Kenya Kwanza. Theirs is disruptive approach to any order that they find. Counties are working, disrupt it. Systems are working, turn them upside down. Tax people, get them talking, give them something to harass them and therefore to make them rethink. Then you can, after a bit of noise, you can even say, okay, we are reconsidering, so that you look like you are a...
But talking about the counties, I think that is not really entirely correct.
About counties?
You need to tell us how that is being affected. But hold on, because we'll come to that. I just want to go back
no, but
to...
if you challenge me, I must answer.
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll come back to that, so that we can hear from Beatrice Elachi and finalize on the party politics, just a bit of it. And by the way, it's good also to make a disclaimer that UDA members are not here because there is a parliamentary meeting this morning that starts at 7. And so everyone that I had invited as well had now to cancel so that they might be in this meeting this morning. And believe you me, I had to call Martin Olo last night and Professor Gitile Naituli last night as well. Thank you so much. And I said Mayday, come and save the day, yeah?
I want to argue UNDA is represented because we are neutral.
You're neutral.
Yeah, we just analyze things the way they are.
By the way.
Yeah,
Put it the way
we
it
are
is.
not in any side, actually.
No, but the
yeah.
team here, even my senior here, we are sometimes very objective.
Yeah, you too.
We look at the country. For me, by the way, I say, when we come here, let's look at the country.
Yeah.
Yes, we will have our political agreements, but the most important thing, 80%, you have to look at the country. So in terms of politics, I think the most important thing is that why can't we just respect?
No, I wanted us to establish first of all, because there seems to be a confusion with this faction.
Yes.
We Kanini Kega and also Sabina Shege's faction and Aidan Canaan as well. May the real Jubilees really stand up. Which is the real Jubilee? A party?
You see,
or we wait for now determination of the courts to establish which is the real Jubilee party. Elijah will come to it,
you
Professor.
see, during when you look at the judgment of the tribunal, they were told you go back and use your mechanisms within the party to bring back the party. The two things that must arise right now is that one, and that's what I was saying, it is important to respect party disciplinary party regulations and agree within the party. But at the same time, both sides have one challenge and one that they must agree how to deal with it. You see, on this side, they have the chair, 23 members of the NEC, and the NEC of Jubilee is constituted of 28 members. So the real members who are registered right now at the Register of Political Parties are 28 years. These 23 within them are together with the Kanini faction. You have 5 with now the delegates. Meaning, you must be very careful because you can find yourself split completely and each will go. Now, most of your members are in parliament. You have very few of them. Most of them, again, are on this side. As Prof said, when you look at the constitution, it is strong on the party leader
And the Secretary General.
and the not even the Secretary General, because I'm the one who was part of structuring that constitution. They gave so much power again to their members of parliament. The PG, that is the parliamentary group, has so immense powers. So that time, because they were in power, you see, you find powers with the majority leader, with who, and he is the one to do so many things of this PG. And therefore, that is how that constitution is. So they have to learn how to deal with it. Now, it's after yesterday, if they want to move, they must go back to the grassroots to build to restructure it properly again and come up with officials, because all of their members who were there then moved to UDA. They are the ones who went to UDA that time. So you must go and build back. In every of those constituencies where you have a UDA member, you must go and look for who will be your Jubilee person there, so that you build the party back the way it was. Because right now we are talking, it's very loose. The way, in fact, the only party that is really entrenched as a party, the two parties is Wiper and ODM. They have the real structures from their grassroots. And Fort
especially
Kenya.
in Bungoma.
Yes, and Fort Kenya, yeah, let us appreciate that.
And
Fort
they survived.
Kenya.
Yeah.
Yes, and they survived. But these other ones are very loose in terms of, if you go today in Central Province, what happened, anyone who was in Jubilee is the member of parliament who went into UDA, who was a Tanga then, and then became UDA.
They all left.
Yes.
They all left. And
So that is so that hapa chini, they must look at a foundation to restructure back.
But that does not make the NDC of yesterday illegal.
No,
My
it's
point
not
is,
illegal.
It was properly convened.
Yes, it is not illegal.
NDC is equivalent to when you go to a referendum.
Yes.
And the citizens have the opportunity now to know what? To vote. So that executive, 23, you said, members of the NEC, that one row, in my opinion now, according to that party constitution and probably even in the law, That is an irrelevant.
That's why I said they must look at
the Kenyans voted.
They are going back, and they said it. They are going to the grassroots to organize. So what they do next is to organize.
What they need to do. That's why I said, and I know I always like looking at it because I've been an SG of a party. Go to your register and make sure everyone who was in your NDC yesterday registered. Have it, because that is the only thing the judge will question. Can I see your register? And can I see? Because if you are in an NDC, you must have a register that people registered and came into the NDC and they ratified that all of you are moving out. Because they are going to court, as he said, our Bill of Rights still gives Kinakanini Kega and the rest to go to court and fight for themselves again. So you must have your articles, statutory articles, very, very clear that this is what we used, and based on our register of Jubilee and the people who attended, we are okay.
Deval, for me, I strictly look at this matter politically. Jubilee was associated with ODM.
Yes.
We have gone and held elections, and the UDA, the people who are anyway in Jubilee, they all left and went and joined UDA.
Whatever it is.
Our coalition then comes out, and what do? We nominate Sabina Chege, and you nominate Kanini Kega. They were not nominated by UDA.
Yeah.
Actually, they were voted in.
They were nominated by Jubilee.
Jubilee.
Now they have gone, after their nominations, they have crossed over. Now they are saying they have no business to do with the Jubilee. They are now, in fact, crossing over to UDA. Common sense, because you leave being in Jubilee, you resign, then a way is looked for. What is this Kinakanini Kega they are doing?
But you see, the mistake we did.
Kanini?
But you see, the mistake we did, that is why I say wrong is wrong. We left Senator of Mandera to cross over, and that is how we lost our majority anyway.
That is true.
It was the most painful thing.
Not you.
And we have never even bothered to question him,
Yeah.
to ask him.
You see,
We have just left it.
You see, both of you as members of parliament, what has happened is this, and you've seen it. The Speaker of Senate has turned a blind eye. The Speaker of the National Assembly made the most bizarre ruling the other day on the issue of majority in parliament. Most bizarre, most political, and most, it can't stand the test of any legal argument. So what we are saying is this, that we are seeing, and this is the point, there is a persistent adulteration of the constitution and the law.
Deliberately.
Now, I am talking about this in a broad sense that I said about the counties, and now the other day the president goes and makes an announcement about the National Land Commission. That role that the National Land Commission plays is a constitutional role. You cannot, by edict in a political rally or on a Sunday, announce that role shall no longer be performed by the National Land Commission. That is how you violate the law. And that's how you ignore the Constitution. So there is actually a bigger danger here, that we are going to look for our way no matter what. We've seen it in political parties. You simply can sit in Jubilee and want to take it over while you are going to sleep in Kenya Kwanza. Now, what can be unconstitutional about that, beyond that? So you've seen that playing out. So we have a situation where you have the executive encouraging violations of the Constitution. Yeah. Not just encouraging, but committing it. What do you do when you are starving counties of money for a whole 3, 4 months, 5 months? What are you saying? Counties have said we want to down our tools. They have said we will send everybody home. We will actually bring everything to a halt. Counties are borrowing money from banks to pay salaries.
But we had the cabinet secretary. He was very categorical,
yes,
and very honest, that they don't have money. And the counties, they have actually to wait to exercise some patience so that this money will be disbanded. That is the reality.
Let me respond first before.
Wait first, this is so sweet. Dibal, don't say, what are you saying, Dibal? What are you saying? There is no money. What are you saying?
I'm quoting what the cabinet secretary.
We are achieving our targets.
Yeah.
And we've been paying debt. When
Yeah.
you pay our debts, you deduct it. So your debt becomes smaller.
Okay.
We are achieving our targets. We are collecting money beyond what KRA had said. At the end of this financial year, in June, next month, we are most probably going to have 2.2 trillion
2.2
shillings.
trillion.
Our
Yeah.
debts are going to be 690 billion. Where's the rest of the money?
Okay, but let's come back. It's not true. And even if it was
What is
true,
not true?
even if it's not true that we don't have money, huh?
Okay, good.
No money
And,
we have in Kenya.
even if it
Guys
was-
are traveling the whole world.
hey,
The things
traveling
are running.
even if-
People are
Jibal,
money.
Jibal,
They have money.
Jibal. Even if it
All
was
his money is going
Wait.
to pay the debts. That
Wait,
no,
wait.
no,
People
no.
are
You're
flying
being lied
the
to.
world. People are all over
But
the
you see
world. They're
also,
just
Dibal,
enjoying.
in this
Let
budget,
him finish. Let him finish. Then we come to
Dibal.
Lachi.
let's assume there's no money or there's less money. What do? You reprioritize.
Yes.
And how do you reprioritize? You take care of constitutional offices. Because the county governments are not a fly-by-night entity. There are constitutional organs playing functions that have been given by the Constitution. So when you tell me that there is no money or there's less money, you then say that in the consolidated charge, you want to balance interests. The same way you'll give money for public servants to go for rallies on Sundays, the same way you'll keep the State House running is the same way you need to keep the judiciary running, keep the legislature running, and keep the county governments running, to the point at which they are doing things that are budgeted for and things that have been voted for. Remember, county governments do not allocate themselves money. They allocate themselves, money is allocated to them by the Constitution,
Yes.
15%, and also by their county assemblies through appropriation bills. So once that has been done, the national government is obligated to fund county governments. Not to tell them there's no money, because if there's no money, then all activities, including those of national government, ought to come to a halt. But you cannot halt. This is how, for example, and this is the short memory that we have in terms of this country. When Kenyatta wanted to kill Majimbo, that's how he approached it.
That's how he approached
He
it.
used budget and the excuse of no money to starve Majimbo and to eventually make an argument against Majimbo.
Yeah.
So what is the similarity? Same. These guys know what they're doing.
yeah.
Health is devolved, much of health, 80% of health is devolved. You want to centralize health. Agriculture is almost 80% devolved.
Okay.
You want to centralize agriculture.
Yes. Can we hear from Beatrice Lachi? I
Yes.
think that's issues of health, and the senator is here as well.
Yes, yes.
They're the custodians of the county. But on the health front, they've failed dismally.
Actually, we
When you
have two
look at the
senators
counties
here.
as well, looking at the referral hospitals as well, what should stop the government from clawing back this particular function, because health within the counties has not been mainstreamed?
Don't say
Lachi. Then we'll come to you, Senator. And of course, Professor.
Two things I wanted to say. One, while we say we have no money, if there's the richest country across East Africa, is Kenya. It has every resource that you can do anything in the whole of the continent, until the continent can wonder what is wrong with that country. Because when you look at every resource that we have, how we spend our, it's not even about the traveling. Yani guys decided in our country, from down anyway, that wherever I'm in an office, I have to use it to the maximum to make myself wealthy. It does not matter how.
How?
Whether I put inflation on whatever I'm doing, I will put. Nobody cares. And that is one thing we have to deal with it. And within this budget, if indeed this government is very serious, one thing you should be coming with as an annexure is the debt of the country. That you say, so far,
Yes.
since we had this debt from the standard gauge, we have paid this.
This much.
This is what the country.
But nobody tells us.
But nobody talks about debt. We have used debt to lie to Kenyans.
To steal.
Yes, we know we have debt. Yes, we know we have to pay. But we are using it in the wrong way. Because if indeed you are truthful, this is what is hurting. That when you walked in, this is what you found. Please, put it as a schedule. That the schedule of debt is this. In this, we have this. We have this. Our percentages are this. Then you gave us even remarks that this is how we are negotiating or renegotiating to see we have brought it down as we pay. You cannot open more streams. And that is the other thing I've had a problem with the county government, even when I was a senator. I said the county, de facto counties, survived without government. You can survive without development and fight government, but salaries, the local revenues that you have, which used to pay even salaries for the councillors who were there, and they had very limited streams because national government used to collect all the revenue from them also. But now, the constitution gave them the right to remain with all their local revenues. Salaries, they can pay. These other things, we can fight national government. And indeed, we can fight national government to tell national government, you cannot leave the most dear thing, health, to be in counties, and then again you deny them money to go to health. It means you are killing your own people, your own citizen, because that's the only place, that's the biggest function. All counties are really going into a lot of debt with it,
right.
Struggling with everything.
Okay.
Just a moment. Let me hear from Prof. Then we'll come to you. Prof, for the issue of health, what view do you hold?
Personally, I would like to support the government on health. I would like to support the government on centralizing health, because it was a mistake to devolve it in the first place.
The constitution is wrong.
The counties are proved totally they are unable to handle matters health. And also, given the way we structure the counties, you see, in my opinion, and I want to agree with that, that even in blanket distribution of money to counties was wrong. The national government should only have given counties in development money, so that the revenues they generate there, they pay their workers. Counties now became employment in bureaus because they are using other people's money. It's not their money. Remember, the county councils, there was a differential in payment.
Yes.
The counties which has more money paid their people more. The county which are less, they paid less salaries. So what I'm saying here is it was a mistake, and that mistake needs to be corrected.
Constitutionally.
Because of our weakness, devolving health was a mistake. But what we do sometimes as a country, we make a mistake, then we refuse to correct the mistakes. So if an attempt is made to correct that one, I want to support it. But I also think we need to revisit this structure, this devolution. We need to stop sending money to the counties for consumption, because that's what the salaries are. The money needs to go only for development and let the people employ, and they pay their people in those counties, because also they refuse to follow the law, the 70 rule. They refuse to follow that, because they were supposed to get that % outside the counties, working in their county. They simply now employ within the counties. So the way we are giving this money to the counties is wrong. And of course, I think for 5 elections, that is 25 years, we should have had governors appointed by the national government through a competitive process, confirmed in my parliament, and sent to the counties. But county assemblies elected, so they can control. So what has happened? Clanism has come in. Tribalism has come in.
Everything.
With everything. So I only think this constitution, in some very specific areas, is now necessary, so that we can correct those mistakes that we made so blindly. I mean, you sent 19 billion into Mandera. Go to Mandera, where is that money?
No, 1 trillion.
1 trillion.
From 10 years,
So
Turkana has gotten 1 trillion.
You go there, where is the money?
Mandera.
1 trillion.
People have just bought houses in Karen and where and they don't care.
And then Dubai.
Just before you come to Martin, because now the senator is here as well, and you are the custodian, you should not actually be joining this choir.
No, it's not a choir.
No.
We want money to go, but also we must be accountable.
But where do we give this
accountability?
Before the senator, because I want the senator to respond to this, because this is also a senator. Once a senator, always a senator. No, she was a senator.
No,
yes, so she's a senator. Before that, Dibal, there are a few things that we are dealing with, and I'm going to disagree with my colleagues here on issues of devolution. I'm a firm believer of devolution. I have written a lot around it. The point is, resources follow functions. If you are going to take functions of health, agriculture, and other functions down to the devolution, then those resources must go there. And I want to challenge the MPs here. Analyze the budget of health and ask yourself, where is the majority of the money in health being spent and on what? The majority of the money is remaining at the national. What is it being spent on? That's why it's easy to steal it at KEMSA. The least of the money is going to the counties. So tell me, and we can do an analysis. Okay, there was X billions allocated to health. Where was it all spent and how much went to the county? That is something we can do very, very objectively. My submission to us is that there might be a few mistakes made, especially on this general electric contracting and so on. But that does not mean that health function was a mistake to devolve. Next we shall say agriculture was a mistake to devolve. In fact, one thing I've said that to leave national security or this issue of security all in a centralized place is as if there are people who are national and there are people who are devolved and yet they don't need security. We must accept that the people in the counties are Kenyans. If you serve them in the counties, you have served Kenyans. And there are 47 counties. So we shouldn't be saying that the counties are failing. And then the last issue which I want to really talk about. We must agree, counties were given staff from the national government. All the health staff, all the agriculture staff, all the local authority staff, all of them were sent to counties, plus their salary from national to counties. So that salary has to be paid. So it's not the counties that employ those people. No. The people that the counties are able to employ are very simple people, the administration, the governor's office, and so on. No. And we can work on this and we can come back with figures. Because certainly, the much we are talking about, even those trillions, is being spent on public servants. People who are already in the civil service, who are simply just transferred to the counties. The rest, of course, the stealing is happening. What I keep saying is this, just like now we're talking about Shakahola. We have penal code, we have criminal laws. Anybody who commits a crime, whether they are a church leader, whether they are a governor, whether they are a member of parliament, there are laws that we need to follow.
Thank you.
So we can't say...
Okay.
Let me just say this.
No, before you come, I think it's Senator's time, right?
Thank you.
To respond to all these issues, first of all...
I will start by being really appreciative for this team. Actually, everything all of you are saying is true. That is what my fascination has come up with what is happening right now in the Senate vis-a-vis devolution. Dibal, the truth is, we can achieve a mix, and sometimes it's good to take the international best practice. Yeah. We can achieve a mix where the national government can play a role in making sure that there is a certain level of involvement that the national government has on a health function. But he says clearly, if you have not given me the money,
what am I supposed to do?
What am I supposed to do? What expectation are you having from me to perform very well? But again, I've discovered that unless we bring, like we did bring the Teacher Service Commission to deal with issues of teachers, we must bring in a medical service commission, which is going to have these nurses and doctors being recruited at the national level with the same standard. And then now the county can receive these people at the ground level. Why? Because you have governors who even will make an assumption that good doctors and good nurses must come from their clan.
Exactly.
Meritocracy and excellence are never rewarded at the county government. You will find that there is punishment. You will find that there is vindictiveness for silly little arguments. So, if we had given the county government's money for health, chances are it would have done better. But again, we have realized the mistakes which governors are making. So my argument is very simple. We need to start asking ourselves as Kenyans, what can we let the national government run? Are you with me? We can even put it on a period. We can say, can we allow the national governments to run referral hospitals for the next 20 years? So that we see how they perform. Because the question becomes, the other day I was listening to Sakaja speak. Number one, Nairobi is too big.
Too big.
So imagine giving Kenyatta National Hospital to the county government of Nairobi. And look at Lucy, look at Bagathi. It is beyond the governor's management. So there are certain facilities we may have to agree, let's give them to the national government because of national security, because of the stability of the country. If there's look at what happened during COVID. Imagine it was the national government which was actually managing the COVID issues. Let's leave out the corruption, but the organization was brilliant. I saw effectiveness. Yes. I saw technocrats actually giving us Dr. Bath. I mean, people who've gone to school for that. Mm-hmm. Imagine if it is my clansman that I hired as a governor of Kisii, and the guy was inept. These are the challenges we are facing. Mm-hmm. If you come to agriculture, the truth is, more money is being spent on health. This money is being spent from the national government than what is going to the village, than what is going to the county governments. In other words, Dibal, out of health, we are giving them, I think, 146 billion shillings. Out of that, you know what goes to the counties? A billion, 47 billion. The rest, which is 128 billion, is left at the national government. Why is the national government keeping all this money? At least if it was half and half. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The counties
the national government spending it on anyway.
Yes.
What is it?
Okay, that is an issue which we are beginning to discuss at the Senate, and it makes sense for us to look at these things in detail. Indeed. The most wonderful decision, I think, for me, that the KK Alliance, one policy that they have brought, which I'm like, oh my God, where did this come from, is actually devolving security. You remember when Duale was saying, let us now have bases in Wajir, in Mandera, in whatever, let us have one in Turkana, let us have one in Mbita, let us have, Nakuru is there already because of Lanet. In other words, why are we not able to devolve our security without compromising the national security, so that even when resources are being distributed amongst the military, some of these resources trickle to the areas where the military base is going to be.
But also talking of resources as well, is there any audit and appraisal that can be done on source revenue from all these counties?
Wait now. When you come, that is the last item I was going to say. Okay. There is no audit you need to do with on source revenue. Allow KRA to collect revenue.
Yes.
It is one stroke of a pen. Allow KRA is the one which collects money for all of us.
Yes.
Why are governors refusing for KRA not to collect money using KRA? Why are they saying you can't?
Because they collect that
money. I think the Senate should put in, collect the money. You are not taking the money from Kisii.
You leave the money.
You leave the money and say we have collected 100 million.
Some of them were arguing with me that, in fact, if KRA collects the revenue, the workers who are now collecting that revenue will be fired. I say the KRA will even hire them.
Yes, they should hire them.
Those guys know what to do. They are the ones who have been collecting the revenue for 10 years. Yes. But you talk to a governor about KRA collecting revenue.
They don't want because they know you will not cover his money.
We are saying KRA will be collecting revenue, but they leave it at the county.
At the county.
But what really stops you to actually steamroll this legislation?
No, you see, Dibal, I'm happy with what I'm hearing because we are making progress. For example, the issue of Health Service Commission is important so that you standardize.
The time I was in Senate.
I have a number of friends of mine. One of them was a medical superintendent the other day in a county which I'll not name. He decided to quit. Why? Because the people that are questioning him, an MCA, and he's questioning how he's making his health decision. I mean, you can't. You cannot reconcile it. So he says, you're keeping too much. I mean,
or even the governor.
Okay, fine. The governor, you can say, has executive powers. But the point is that you are working within an environment of accountability that is not matching your skills. Yes. But you're being questioned and being told to do things that cannot make medical sense. So we must look at it and look at it well. The only thing that I'm saying, which I think we should all be agreed on, is that as we do this, we should not compromise. For example, devolution is good for us. Whether we like it or not, we've seen a level of resources going down
to the ground.
And there are some places that are better today just because devolution happened.
Exactly.
Of course, there are places where maybe they are receiving more money than they need and you can't see what they are doing. I don't want to say where, but there are places. And there's, of course, pilferage and so on. But pilferage is happening at national level. In fact, 30-40% of our national resource at national level is pilfered.
So I agree with my senior, but then I want to say that does not make it that because it's happening at the national level, it must happen in the counties. The counties are our homes. They should have learned that this thing, we are here to develop your home, not your national. It cannot be happening there. And then the biggest challenge we always face in Kenya is that the same people who talk about it are the same ones who go and become governors.
Yeah. Senator,
so you remove.
I want to bring a point
The
that
same
she has
person.
brought, which is very good.
It's not
There's an
very
issue
nice.
he raised about how are we handling our money? How is this money being channeled? First of all, even from the national government. The truth is, one of the mistakes we ever made was to make sure that we bring the money from Nairobi to the governor's office.
Yeah.
And then we give him a PFM Act where we are saying the governor will actually even rearrange the money or reallocate it depending on how he feels or how he thinks. The water fund is a must. Why?
Yeah.
CDF as a fund has succeeded so well because the money comes. It comes to an account. You have the CDF committee at the constituency level. The member of parliament, of course, I'm a patron, but the members have got the decisions which were made on what we are going to do in terms of the development agenda. This is what we discussed with the public after we held public hearings. We bring this money. The voter now knows that CDF is 150 million shillings a year.
Yes.
And in that money, the member of parliament has got between 30 and 40 million for roads. You know, don't know the ball. It is so sweet for a voter to know their money. Soon, the voter will be asking the MP to justify that money.
Yeah.
That is how we need to handle devolution. Don't bring the money and amorphously throw it in the governor's office. Take this money with PFM, with the IFMIS, bring it down to the governor's office, take it to the ward.
Mheshimiwa, you can't get away with this one. The money that I know that is budgeted for out of the appropriation bill in the counties does not go to the governor. It goes to the county. And in fact, it does not go to the county. It goes to the central bank and it is administered through the IFMIS and it's administered with the controller of budget.
Thank you. You helped me. Wait. You helped me.
So our problems...
I will change it a bit.
Our problems,
having been a speaker,
Our
I'll change it for you
our
a bit
problems,
to understand how it goes wrong.
yes, our problems are big.
The problem was the stalemate of the IMIS.
No.
Itself.
Allow me
It's
to
meant
help you.
to stall all
I
the time
have
for-
to help you
Yeah.
because you are making a mistake on my part. I was trying to simplify it for the ordinary Mwananchi to understand. The truth is, even when the budget is done and the assembly approves it, it is normally the governor who influences which money is going to go where.
In fact,
whether he influences by bribing the MCAs, whether he influences by giving
debate I'm saying
projects to
in
the
Meru right now.
MCAs. What I am saying
It's the
is,
debate I'm saying in
we
Meru.
must have a system, and I'm using the structure. I'm not saying that CDF money is not eaten. We must have a system where, if from the budget you held last year, budget program, you said you are going to build a primary school in a place called Nyambera, for example, in Kisii. When that money comes, the line of expenditure
Goes to Nyambera.
goes to Nyambera.
That's how
Why?
CDF
Because
works.
the money goes to the central bank.
Yes.
The central bank, with the authority of control of budget, releases that money to the account whereby that money actually will land at that school called Nyambera.
And that's how
the
CDF
commercial
works.
bank which pays, I'm making an assumption here, using the CDF as a structure. You have a code.
Yeah.
The code guides where that money goes under CDF. Under the county, there is no coding of the projects which
Nothing.
are done. The governor can decide to shift using IFMIS. In fact, the other
Health
day,
money.
Council, the other day when we were sitting with members of the National Intelligence Service and we were discussing vulnerabilities of our software in the country, they said the most vulnerable, most weakest, most useless system is IFMIS. They can hack it in 15 seconds.
And that's a national system.
Yes.
But let's come back to this issue. And I want, again, this is the place to put this conversation. I have a problem with CDF fund. I will have a problem with Ward Fund. Why? What does CDF do? It funds roads, it funds police stations, it funds school infrastructure, and sometimes health facilities, infrastructure. So, what is the business of the Ministry of Health when it comes to those things?
Education.
And the Ministry of Education when it comes to those things? Because the money still goes to education,
Public
for
works.
infrastructure, and so on. So what I'm saying is this, let us agree. And the MPs are here.
Let me just...
Wacha kidogo, wacha
Let him
nimalize,
finish.
wacha nimalize ya
Let him
argument.
finish.
Let's agree. If the ward is our unit of development,
Yes.
let us make it so. So that every allocation, whether national, whether county, is done at the ward level, so that we only leave things that are national, for example, national roads, or things that are national hospitals, things that are regional, county, so that those things go. But for things that we are talking about, we have duplication. That's what I'm saying. Okay. There's money being allocated in terms of double sense. In fact, between an MP sometimes and an MCA, the same road is attributed to two people. Now, what is happening is that I will take money, put it on this road, and the MP will take money, put it on that road, or I will not even put it there, but I'll claim it is there. So
now,
there is a place we now must revisit.
Very wonderful. Finish and then I can just add a footnote.
One of the things that we have to appreciate, I think, and it's good now to go deeper to understand each structure. First of all, they don't deal, SDF doesn't deal with roads or health. It just deals with schools and security. And each school has its own committee. When they say priority X, we want to buy a cup, that is what will go to their proposal, to their strategic plan of that year, that this is what they want to do. And when the money comes, it doesn't come in anybody's account. It goes directly to the school. To the school. And what they wanted to buy was this amount. It is voted exactly. So each school has its account on how they do. After they finish, the money will remain there. They cannot even touch.
Until CDF,
yes, you cannot touch that money. You cannot remove it and to allocate it to go and take it. I don't know, to another school. Never. It will remain. They will ask the school whether they have another project that can consume this money, and they have to bring in that proposal, and it will go very clear in the books that this money was meant for this, but since this was done and the remainder was this, it has been allocated to this. We are saying it is time the county governments can borrow that structure.
Thank you.
That if Ward X, and that is why the Ward Fund, and by the way, I will agree, principally, what Senior is saying is very good. But this tribalism of ours up to the counties, where we look at clans and everything, has made even you can find one ward the governor has never stepped in, even one time. But if the ward fund was there, and the money was meant, 20 million was meant for this, it will go. It is not that the MCA is touching the money. It is that just money has gone for that project in that ward. And therefore, as much as we say there is duplication, there is none. So today, if you ask the Ministry of Education, which school have you ever built? Which one? When you look at the ones they tried doing, the desks, you know they were bringing 50 desks. When you bring 50 desks to one school, how are you going to, and each school has 3 streams, how?
So what Mheshimiwa is saying is that let's remove certain, but by the way, our constitution says this very clearly, that the national level and the county government level can delegate functions to each other. Yes. The county can delegate up, and the national can delegate down. Yeah. So why don't we agree? And I want to agree that let schools be built by CDF. Then let's move the money that is in education for school
to CDF.
To CDF.
Absolutely.
So that we don't have it here and have it there.
That one we will move.
Thank you. What for me, Dibal, I agree. For me, Dibal, how I wish that the conference would be discussing right now is about what we are all talking about here. Because, like he said, there are certain things in our constitution that unless we deal with them, we are not moving. There are certain things that we must do. Yeah. And when I'm saying, my leader, when I'm saying I'm talking about CDF, please, and I know, and I remember Charles Nyeshai telling us when he was the head of CIO, CDF is illegal. Let me tell you, my brother, you are an intellectual, you are out here, you never run for elections. I cannot go to Kisi and start and discuss issues of policy, LGBTQ. You know, now we are talking about FGM. Thank you, clap for me, I go home. Wananchis in Africa are not ready to receive words.
They want action.
They want action and words. If I talk about policy and they finish and say, oh, you said that toilet, you want me to down. Where is the chairman of CDM? Muse, iyo choo itengenezo ni sawa. That is the don't take this European model and think that that is the panacea of what works in our Africa.
I think we are in agreement.
Thank you. What we are saying, reduce the duplication.
Yes.
Let us agree what the governor can handle financially. Make sure that there are structures in place where government technocrats continue working, even when the governor is left. He doesn't come in and remove the technocrats who are hired by the governor before him. So that the workers of the county governments understand that this is a government that is supposed to be functioning. The workers of the county governments today know that you are here temporarily. Until your clansman, when he goes, then you also go.
So we're in agreement.
No, just a moment. Let me rope in, Prof, because you're talking about continuity.
Yes.
But even the governors themselves, they have the mentality that this is their chiefdom, right? That once I come in,
that's why we went wrong.
I have to purge, I have to bring my people, because also I have security when I know I'm bringing people who also, they're leaning on my side. They're leaning on my policy.
No, there's something we're not getting right.
I wanted to hear from Professor, because
But
I think that has been the mentality. No. You will come
This
after
legal issue you're saying. The people the governor recruits are the people that he's allowed by the constitution to bring, and also to CECs, chief officers, and maybe personal or whatever. Those are the only people that
what is he alluding to them?
No, what I am saying is this. Like any government, even the national government, President Ruto is allowed to remove the people who used to work for Uhuru, but we should have a threshold that is higher. If you are going to allow him to have, let's say, 12 people from his inner cabinet, so be it. Those are the people who will come and talk to going down when you are cascading the governance structure going all the way, so that we maintain a public service which keeps on moving, which handle their policies that are going to be 2 years. There are others which are going to be 4 years. There are others that we are going to take policies in the county government which take 20 years. And yet when a governor comes in, what does he do? He fires everybody, he cross-transfers everybody, he picks illiterates and mongrels, people who never went to any school, and he puts them in departments.
That's not true.
These are the people who give devolution a bad name.
It's characterized badly. Professor, say the truth. Professor on this thing.
Professor, you need to take about the loss of institutional memory, continuity. Hold the views, bro.
So that's what we have done nationally and locally. The leadership quality is basically going down.
Thank you.
We have destroyed the civil service because we infuse. You see what used to happen before? You don't be employed as a DO, and then you rise through the ranks and become a PS.
Yes.
So now I can get out of this table and become a PS. I've never worked in the civil service. Now you do that also in the counties. You're messing the whole thing up. And that is why auditing this document, it may be extremely useful. Initially, what shouldn't have happened, in my opinion, they put 20-30 rule. The idea was that you can get expertise from outside the county. Okay? That is not happening. Now, why is that not happening? The security provided to the governor, either by his clan or whatever, he is able to shield himself and actually do the firing he is talking about. And do the employment, the illegal employment he's talking about, which is also sometimes done at the national level. I mean, we have a cabinet position which is not in here. Okay? So, auditing this document right now, at this time, after 15 years of implementation, it may make a very good idea. We audit it because I think the structure of the county, the way it should have been started was the MCA should have been elected. Then governors should have been appointed through competitive process, public service, appointed by the president, confirmed by assembly, then it's sent there, so that in Omambe, you have a mayor as a governor. So even if the idea of this privilege will be less, because these MCAs will be looking at this fellow who has come from Nairobi, because he's an overseer now.
But that was the spirit of the Constitution.
No. That what he's describing is not the spirit of the Constitution.
No, I'm saying it's not the spirit of the Constitution.
Appointed governors.
No, not appointed governors. I mean, the spirit of devolution was you are crisscrossing. That it essentially doesn't have to be.
What we should have done.
If I'm from Busia, I have to be the governor of Busia.
Yeah, exactly. You
are
provincial administration, not devolution.
So what I'm saying, no. We shouldn't have done. We have entrenched now clanism and tribalism. What we should have done for 25 years until there's enough maturity.
Yes.
For people to understand, what he said about the people knowing the money belong to them. So there was something I noted when I was a commissioner between Nyeri and Meru. You go to Nyeri, the roads are fantastic. You go to Nyeri, if the church is built well, if you see the office is better than Meru. So I was talking to women, I asked them, what do you people do, which we don't do? One of them saying, when the money comes from Nairobi and the lands here, it is our money. We observe it. Other people think that is in government. Money.
Yes.
So they don't control it. So until we mature to understand that when the money comes from the national is our money, we needed to have a system that as we separate the powers. That's why I'm saying a governor from employed, just like we used to have provincial commissioners, but then with an assembly to control that for a total of 25 years. Yes. Only 5 elections. We would have been done in better in utilizing the resources. Right. Because what we were developing was resources, remember? Was not necessarily employment.
No.
We wanted
was not
to
power.
Not the power.
No.
We developed the resources. That's what we were developing. So we went wrong when we designed that to have this for the 70 presidents.
Prof, we devolved power. That's why the constitution says the supremacy of the sovereignty of Kenyans is shared. So it is devolved.
Yes.
Even up to the county.
Yes.
To the county assembly and the county executive. We devolved. We intended to devolve power. We can't run away from that one. Number two,
in other words, you are saying it was intended that we were to become more tribal and more inward looking.
I'm coming to that.
It was
this
intended.
thing about tribalism is our reality and we must live with it. Trying to circumvent it by telling me that you'll post a Mumeru in Kakamega and to become a governor, you're wasting time. Just like you had to tell me. The other day, you saw what was happening in Bungoma where headmasters are being flushed out of schools just because they are not from that community. Yes. So this thing about tribalism is so true that even you, I want to accuse you directly, but I might be wrong, but let me not use you. Even us, while we're sitting here, given a choice of a driver, given a choice of a security person,
Yes.
given a choice of a personal assistant,
Yes.
we only go for people from so that these are things that are
He's
so
saying
true.
he only goes to his clansmen.
No, I said, I said, me, I don't have any.
Which I don't.
I'm not.
Which even
I'm very surprised I have never.
And I
don't have anybody.
Prof,
And as a commissioner,
that
and a
argument,
driver from Borona
Prof, wait.
community, not
This
the Meru.
argument you're making shocks me.
Yeah.
Because my PA who I've been with for the last 16 years is Kikuyu and she's a lady.
Yeah.
My driver, it is now I've gotten a Kisi. My driver has been Luya, Kalenjin, and has been Luo. Okay, my bodyguard. You see what?
And you're in the minority.
No. I want to disband that argument. What you should be telling me is very simple. The constitution had good intent.
Yeah.
Yes.
The intent was that we are supposed to try and we are legislating harmony and getting together.
Yes.
But the point I'm making is I don't want you to give up on me yet. You are giving up on this country.
Not yet.
You are actually telling me that when
It is so
President
baked in the system.
when President Ruto is employing Kalenjins on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I should accept that as a basic standard operating procedure of all politicians.
No.
And it is not.
I'm saying
It is
I'm
not.
saying-
Could we take
I'm
a short
saying-
break, then we circle
I'm
back
saying
with
there's
that?
a script.
What I'm saying is that is the wrong script.
Yes,
That is
okay,
the
that's
wrong
wrong
script. That is the script.
Yeah, but there's a-
we need
That
to
is the
reject it.
script I don't want for my country.
Now that's what you need to discuss.
That is the script I don't want.
Let's review the script when we circle back. And of course, we want to look at what is happening at KEMSA right now with the purge that is ongoing. MPs are really coming up with another solution that we hive off procurement function from KEMSA. Will that bring any discernible difference within KEMSA? We'll take a short break.